All right, so welcome to the first installment of the Nodaudaboutit Show. Actually, this is kind of like episode 12, but this is the first like revamp of the name, switching up the style. I'll talk more about that later, but anyway, if you're watching this live or you're watching this on the playback, appreciate you taking the time to take a look at the content. Today, or tonight I should say, right here live on the Nodaudaboutit Show, I got Nels Cephas, founder of Dcnowevents. If you don't know Nels, I'm gonna let him tell you some more things about himself before we get into the show and everything like that. Nels, go ahead, let them know who you are, what you do.
Well, thank you, Dowda, for having me on your platform. As Dowda stated, founder of Dcnowevents, which is a discovery event platform where we save event goers time where they don't have to worry about figuring out and finding what it is to do in the DMV area. For those who are not familiar with the acronym DMV, it stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I have a background in event planning, party promotions, for a little over 6-7 years now, facilitated over 1,000+ events, ranging from college nightlife, concerts, festivals, you name it, big or small. Learn the business aspects of the industry, took everything that I learned, merged it with the digital realm of everything that's happening right now, and launched the startup of Dcnowevents in 2016 of June. And since then, we just been the hub for event goers and event planners who are trying to connect and find their ideal events and create creative to partner with.
All right, cool. And let me know if you watch right now. Let us know if you can hear us. I just want to make sure sometimes sound can be messing with us. But I want to just before we get into like what you got coming up next,
okay,
and things in the area, like I want to give some like kind of like details of the people that's going to be watching this and just tuning into the show.
Okay.
So basically, the difference between the shows that you've seen me doing before, it was more restaurant-based, kind of specific. This now is just going to be anybody that's entrepreneur, business person, operator, marketer, artist. It really don't matter what it is, just anybody doing something and creating something bigger than themselves, in the area. So the value that you get from this and watching this is, if you're even thinking about doing something, if you ever thought that you couldn't do it because, you're not good enough, or where you come from, or your age, or your skill set, we're going to be talking about, different things, how we started, how we came up, mistakes we made, solutions we solved, just everything that, kind of just made us who we are, and whoever that's with me in the show made them who they are, so you can kind of take that and run with it. So, with that being said, let's take it back a little bit before we get into what you got going on. What I want to do is I want to talk more like mental base, right?
Okay.
So, for example, like, why do you think so many people are scared to start something? And not even just business, just like it could be working out, it could be training in something, it could be business, it can be music. Why do you think so many people, like, they have these ideas, but they scared to just take the first step?
Well, it's two things. It can be one, the fear of the unknown, which can transcend into failure, or it can be the fear of success. A lot of people think fear comes from being able to fail, but a lot of times starting something or tapping into something that you're trying to do, the idea of knowing that you can be successful in it comes with an abundance of responsibility that a lot of people are not prepared for. Mm-hmm. So that in itself can scare someone from even going through with something or even starting it. So I think that's something that a lot of people don't really talk about, the fear of success.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I wonder a lot, how people perceive certain things, because a lot of times, let me fix this wire in the way. A lot of times, I find that people will like assume that things are bigger than what they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, like people will call you up and be like, yeah, you know, I have this idea, but I'm worried about so and so. I'm worried about how many people is gonna like it, or they don't even know what they want to do. Like, you know, I want to do something, but I don't know what I'm good at.
Right.
So like, I know for myself, like, sometimes you step out there and do something, thinking that you're gonna do A, and then when you step out there, you're like, oh shit, I'm actually good at D and F.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what I always tell people is like, just step out there and do something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like your own instinct is gonna navigate you on, you know, what you can and can't do. It's just like anything else. Like when you start walking, you know, you might start off and then you fall a couple times.
Right.
Or you might bump your head on the corner of a door or a table and you're like, all right, I'm not going to walk left no more. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. But until you took that first step, you didn't know that corner of the table was going to bust your forehead.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. Like I feel like people, you just got to step out there and do it. And given that we have these things, you know, these digital tools now, you know, we're streaming this live on Facebook and Instagram, right? We got apps, we got widgets, we got all these things that you could do where you can literally turn your phone on and start something, and yet people are scared to do it, right? And sometimes, like, how do you feel like that? How do you feel about that? Because I think about, like, back in the day where if I wanted to reach 1,000 people, and you already know what I'm about to say, if we want to reach 1,000 people, like right now it's cold, right? It's cold outside. We'd have to go outside. We'd have to say, all right, we're going to talk to we're going to try to get at least 10 girls' numbers, because if we talk to one girl, she's going to let 10 other girls know, and that's 100 people. And if we do that 5 days out the week, now we've reached 700 people, right? You got to actually put in that work. That's like what, a minimum 7 hours, if that, in the cold, going from spot to spot. And now you got people that won't even turn their phone on and just hit record, and then you could literally put something like, I put a couple stories up. The 4 stories I put between last night and tonight reached 400 people. Okay. Or let me just say, because some of them might be doubles, but let's say 150 people if you add some of the duplicates. Right. For free. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do that once a day, that's 1,000 people. But people they have all these tools, but yet they still paralyze themselves to like, I'm scared to do it. Or let's go deeper than that. Back when we were doing the club business, right? So, because if you're not aware, me and Nels, along with, you know, a few other people too, we had a big club business, had a lot of promoters under us, pretty much did every club, you know, under the sun in D.C., or try to do every club, you know what I mean? And for at least 1 or 2 of those summers, or I'll say maybe a 6 or 7 month period, we were on the radio. And to reach, you know, the radio will tell you, okay, you're going to reach 250,000 people in this period of time. And you don't even know if those people are going to hear it, if they're going to change the station, if they're going to think it's some bullshit when they see it. But that would cost $2,500 to $3,000 a month. Right. So think about that. You can actually get $3,000 of value by just hitting play on your phone, by just posting a tweet, a comment, whatever it is, whatever platform you're good at doing, you can do that for free. You can get $3,000 in value for free, and people still scared to do it. So it's like, for me, I'm trying to figure out, like, it got to be deeper than access, because people literally, like, here you go, and they like, you know, they still don't want to do it. So how do you think, like, if you were going to coach somebody on taking their first step, what would you do? And it don't got to be a clear-cut plan, but what would you do to, like, get that person to get out of the fear zone of starting something?
I think first, it starts from a sense of self.
Yeah, TJ watching.
TJ, what's up, man? I think first it starts with, like, you being sure of yourself. I think a lot of people tend to not be sure of themselves when it comes to putting themselves out there. And the way how you feel about yourself offline is how you're going to feel about yourself when it comes to putting yourself offline. So if you're apprehensive about starting something offline, you're going to you're gonna carry that same apprehensive online. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's the same mindset. It's almost like trying to get a new customer into your establishment. If you're not implementing or applying the right strategies and format to get them indoors, or you feel like you're more concerned about getting people indoor and you show more value to that, and you neglect applying the same strategy online, you're not realizing how you market yourself offline is the same way you're going to market yourself offline. If you have a bad Yelp review offline, that person's going to take that same review online and it's going to spread. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that if I was to coach somebody, I would start to work on how they feel about themselves and just trying to internalize getting them to have a certain level of confidence. Because you can have the brain power, you can be an expert in XYZ, but if you don't have the confidence from within first to back that up, you're just like you're the equivalent to somebody opening up a space and don't know how to drive traffic and it's just there. Mm-hmm. So that would be the first thing I would focus on first.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. One thing that I also hear from people is like I got the confidence, but I just don't know what to do. Like, how do I know what I'm good at? How do I know where to start? And like one of the things that I tell people, or that I would tell people if they ask me that question, is you gotta use the tools of communication that's out there now.
Right.
So you got the old school stuff of networking, right? Everybody knows, if you want to get into new things, you go out, try new things, meet new people, go to new spots, and you should still do those stuff. So for example, like there's websites like meetup.com.
Right.
Where you can literally go, the things that you like. Oh, here's another thing. If you don't know what you want to do and you want to do something else, build a side business, build a full-time business, look at all the things that you like. Literally, like, describe yourself like you're an investigator or a police officer. Okay, we're going to have to see what O'Neal talking about on there. Okay. And just describe yourself, female, Latina, this age, this location, this where you grew up, this is your favorite team, your favorite food, your favorite music. Literally write all that stuff down, because 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you one of the things that you're good at or that you're willing to put in the work on is something that you already like.
Right.
It's hard for you to put in the work if you've never liked that thing in any sort of way.
Right.
So really reverse engineer yourself and look at like not just now, but what did you like when you were in high school, right, middle school, elementary, and then once you do that, start searching those keywords online. Right? Because you got websites like meetup.com where you can go and be like, okay, Redskins fan, and you might see Redskins fan for moms, right, or knitting class for Redskins fan. No, seriously, you see random stuff like that, and you might think it's corny, but you might go there off some knitting stuff, but then you meet somebody that's like, hey, we're doing this thing that involves fashion. You get involved with that, next thing you know, you realize like you actually a very good sports fashion, you know what I mean? And I'll give you a short story, like, for those of you that know me from the club business, I actually became a club promoter on accident, right? Literally, I remember this day like it was yesterday. Me and Merib were driving down Patterson Street. Remember, Fur nightclub was on like 33 Patterson Avenue or something like that. Driving down, we like 18, fresh, like barely been to like one club.
Okay.
Didn't know where the entrance was. Because you know how Fur like had that like, that kind of like double stairway and it was kind of dark. So we're like, all right, it must be where the line of people is. But we ain't know where the actual entrance is. So we driving by. White dude comes into the car. He's like, what y'all looking for? Oh, yeah, we're trying to go to the club. Gave us like a bag. It was like a Safeway bag filled with like passes. Those passes that used to say Tuesday free at 12:23, Wednesday free at all the different. We thought we was going to be free for life. You know what I'm saying? We thought it was going to be free for life. But he gave us that bag and he was like, yeah, use these passes to come into the club. So we're like, all right, bet. So like next Thursday, this is when Dream used to pop off 18 and up Thursday night. So we went again. But this time when we showed up to the line, he was there and he was like, oh yeah, those are my promoters. Yeah. So we cut the line, we got in, And for about 3 months, I was a fake promoter. He'd call me up, hey, you pass out those flyers? Oh, yeah, I'm at City Place, I'm at da-da-da, not really doing nothing.
Right.
But as time went along, seeing the different people that I knew there, like, oh, this is somebody from Blair, this is somebody from back in the day. I'm like, man, if I actually put in the work, this would have been $5, $10. This would have been like $200 tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Next thing you know, I'm actually putting in the work, bumping into different people. And that's another thing. When you start putting in work, other people start noticing. And you'll filter out the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And that's how me and Nels got involved with the business. Like, Nels was actually a customer first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to have good vision and see the skills and
Shardell, what's up?
And see the skills and what's the word I want to say? And the value different people bring, so you can help them and kind of put them in the right direction.
Right.
But either way, if I didn't take that step of saying I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna put myself out there, because you could do a party and the joint flop.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you have to do something, and when you do it, that puts you into position of other things. So I would say that. I would say network with people, use the digital tools that you could do, and those are things you could use to kind of get out the funk of being scared to start something new. Let's talk about events now.
Okay.
Why do you think the DC area has kind of, I guess I want to say, watered down, or they're not appealing to the masses of people anymore, to the point where Dcnowevents is able to provide that solution? Why do you think there was even a problem in the first place that this area got to that point that people are like, I don't even know where to go anymore, and I'm literally from here?
I think, well, one, if we focus on the club scene first, I think at that time period, with the age demographic, at that time, there was a high population of like the big clubs at the time. So the main focus was the big clubs. The whole eclectic scene of different type of events going on, it was only regulated to a small margin of individuals that was in a small group of like arts, entertainment, pertaining to like fashion and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I think during that time period, there wasn't really much large amount of those events going on at that time, and if there was those events, you would have had to be in a certain network. So, two, just from a real estate standpoint, the amount of different type of real estate that came about around 2009, 10 and up, it wasn't around at that time period. So, for instance, there wasn't an influx of hookah lounges. There wasn't an influx of mom and pops establishment. Mm-hmm. There wasn't an influx of restaurants and bars that was doing events. If there was a restaurant and bar, you was literally going there for
the restaurant and bar.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think as the transition from an economic standpoint has started to change, and from a declining standpoint, a lot of shift started to change as well. Which that shift started to bring in a lot of frugal individuals that wanted to do things from a minimal standpoint, which from a development standpoint, a large amount of the developers started coming into play when a lot of new landmarks started to open up. A lot of different contracts started coming into play, and this is the birth of all these different lounges, bars, and restaurants. And then three, with a lot of the lounges and restaurants that was doing good or okay back then, with the amount of development and property started to pop up, a lot of competition started to come into play. So that left them to now, do we focus on just one part of our business, which is food or whatsoever have you, or do we switch over or add in an extra incentive where it can make people not only come and subscribe to the things that we initially started with, but now we can upsell them to a certain form of entertainment. So once I saw that, I then saw the niche. I then saw that at an early time period in 2008. I saw it years ago.
Yeah, because I was going to say, not to cut you off, I think everybody was comfortable. Mm-hmm. So if you did clubs, I just do clubs. You do lounge, I just do lounge.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to just do a regular lounge,
right.
regular club, regular bar. But once 2008 hit and then that trickled in 9 and 10 to the club industry,
right.
It's like it's just like anything else. If you're comfortable in front of your heater in the house and it's cold, but you got your heat,
right.
You know, you're good. But as soon as that heat is not warm enough, all of a sudden you're looking to turn the fireplace on, you're looking to rub number two pencils together, like you got to find other things.
Right.
So it's like once the main thing wasn't working anymore, or you see people just running out of theirs, shutting down, you're like, oh snap, let me I think that's even what allowed a lot of bullshit promoters to get in too. Right. Because we, you know, before we can just rely on one for the whole week, right. Week after week, but now we need a promoter for every single night. Oh, that's right. Not enough. We need like 5. Oh, we need 50 promoters.
Right.
Because, you know, the tools weren't even there, all these different tools. So, okay, I just got to get more bodies to get more people.
Right.
And then I think what then started to happen is, just like anything else, if you don't have talent, if you don't have creativity, what do? You just copy.
Yeah. So
we're going to copy the same themes, Libra this, girls night out, free before it. We're just going to do the same thing, no creativity. I remember, you probably remember this too, like, I mean, we literally would try to get creative with owners and get pushback from the owners. We're trying to do innovative stuff, and they just like, just make it free before 11. And we just like, okay, everybody does that though.
Right.
You know, we're trying to mix things up and do different kind of themes and all this type of stuff, and it just wasn't clicking.
Right.
Until the financial part came in, and now your money don't look right. Now everybody wants to, you know.
Right.
But I think that's what put the area in kind of like a flux. Mm-hmm. And then people just kind of went through the motions. You either just dealt with it, or you fell off, or you just kept going to the same spots to party. And then, you know, once that dies down and people get desensitized, now they're like, all right, I need to actually find quality events. I don't care about quantity no more. Right. Hence, you know, Dcnowevents is given. So for people that are not familiar with Dcnowevents, whether they just came as a tourist or they've lived here their whole life, what can they get from Dcnowevents right now?
They can get events that align with the 5 categories that, you know, everybody wants to attend from an event standpoint, or they yearn for when they're trying to find something to do, which is they're looking for something free. Who doesn't like free? I know I do. They're looking for something that's cost friendly. If it's not free, something that don't cost much. They're looking for something to do with their family, something with their friends. You know, if it's a celebration out, you know, or your friend or your homeboy, your homegirl just got a promotion, or you know, you just want to have a nice night or evening out in the town to just let your head down or just relax. And they're looking for some from a date standpoint. You want to court an individual that you're dating, or you're in a relationship, or you're married to, and so forth. So that's what entice a lot of people to Dcnowevents, of the array of the main 5 sectors of things that everybody of all background, gender, creed, they look for when they're trying to find something to do. On the flip side, it's also a hub for professional millennials, entrepreneurs, the media outlet, like no doubt about it. It's a hub for you all to save you all time where you can be able to connect and find the ideal creative that you want to connect with. So for instance, if we was to pose an event on our platform and we tag or mention the person who's doing this very dope or unique, interesting event, the doubt could be like, oh dang, who did Dcnowevents just tag or post? I want to interview them, or I want to go to the event, see how it is. Mm. You attended from a media standpoint, you like the event, you can connect with the person who's doing the event because you saw who we tagged, and now you can identify the founder or the event coordinator based off of who Dcnowevents tagged. So right there, that just saves you time. You don't have to search for things on your own. And we filter out all the different type of event from a quality standpoint where you don't have to figure out or trying to overthink, okay, what category is this event in? Because we're already letting you know in the headline that this event's for family, this event's for couples, this event is cost friendly or free and so forth. So that in itself is what separates us from other platforms, and that's what makes people gravitate to our platform even more, because we're doing one thing and one thing only, we're saving you time.
Got you. So let's veer off the business stuff for a second.
Okay.
30 plus
Okay.
in America, right?
Okay.
Male or female?
Okay.
What's your take on the older generation that, and it's gonna be left field, but what's your take on the older generation that says to a 30-year-old, male or female,
Okay.
why don't you have kids yet? Why aren't you married? Or, oh yeah, let's just say that. Why don't you have kids yet? Why aren't you married? Whether it's because you have a business you're attending to, you don't think things are right, but they're pushing you to do something that you're not ready for whatever reason. What's your take on that? Or how you think people should approach that if they're dealing with that in their 30s?
I think when you're dealing with the talking points from your family or people who care about you, or they just want to be into your business, because that talking point usually comes from like your family per se.
Yeah.
And most of the time it comes from a good place. Sometimes when you're at a certain point in your life where you may not feel like where you want to be, or whatever the case may be, any little things that people say to you, you can be like, your guards can get up, So I think you shouldn't take that from a personal standpoint. If it's your mom telling you, you should look at it, she may want a grandkid.
That's the number one reason.
Right, which is cool. Everybody want something that can be passed along, and they can say, my son or daughter, God forbid, something happened to he or she, they left someone of value and means be behind. So I wouldn't take that from a personal standpoint. If a question like that arises to you, just give it a very cool, downplay answer. Like, right now, where I'm at in my life, it's just a few things that I want to be sure of before I bring somebody, that's a responsibility that would be a big positive factor in your life as a grandparent before I choose to, transition into that area.
Yeah, because I bring it up because I see on social media a lot, especially from women that, they're kind of pressured that if they're late 20s or past their 30s and they're not married or they don't have kids or, that kind of committed situation, that they're getting pressured all the time. And my whole thing is, number one is your life to live, right? Number two, when you bring a life into the world, you like having grandkids is cool, but the reason why it's so cool is because you give it back to the parents.
Right,
and the parents got to take care of the kid and spend time. And, I also think something that a lot of people don't talk about is the state of the world. You know what I mean? And don't quote me on this. O'Neal dropping big comments. I don't think he has a question like that is pushing.
Let's read his comment real quick.
Okay. O'Neal said, I don't think being asked a question like that is pushing. They're merely asking the reason why, so I would simply answer it. Now they may not like my answers because some of the reasons why were... So I gotta hit C more for this comment. Why we're not married is because our parents or their generation didn't prepare us properly for it. No resources to use or poor economy, home mentality, etc. All right, cool. So
O'Neal wrote a Homeland Security question. Damn.
So yeah, I mean, I agree with most of what you're saying. So what O'Neal just said. Like my take on it is a couple things. One, like I said, it's your life. You bring a kid into the world, you got to take care of the kid. As cute as that kid is, and the grandparents and aunties and uncles and all that, they still got to leave and go home with you. That's number one. Number two, I feel like the state of the world is in a flux. And don't quote me on this, but I think if you check history, anytime a society is going through some kind of turmoil, and some people might be like, oh, we're not in a turmoil, but we are in a turmoil. It's been so good that the turmoil has like makeup on it. You know what I'm saying? But when society's in a turmoil, people subconsciously wait to do things like that. They wait to get fully committed. They wait to have kids because some of us don't even know where we're going to be getting our money from in the next 5 years. We don't know what city we're going to live. We don't know if we're going to be in this country. We don't know if we're going to, you don't know what you're going to do because of the tension is so high. It's like when, a fight is about to happen at the end of the day at school. It's like that tension of like what's about to happen or when it's going to happen. And I think that plays a big factor into it subconsciously. I also think that because communication is easier now, the world is smaller now. Like literally, like I was just having a conversation in my DMs with, an attractive female from South Africa. Now that was business related, but I'm just saying like that wouldn't happen 10 years ago or 20 years ago. That definitely didn't happen for our generation of parents and stuff. So you literally could be chilling. You could almost be thinking about getting committed or in the search of getting committed. And then your old first grade crush pops up on your timeline and she's like single now. Then what? And I think those things play a factor into like how people are taking their time with it or just have more options. Along with, this whole mentality and stuff like that too, but I don't think that's the majority. I think the fact that we can communicate more, we know that there's more options, we know that things are not like stable right now subconsciously. I think that's why people are kind of holding back on that. Whereas like if you look at our parents, by 25 in their inner circle, everybody was married and had kids. Yeah. Right now in our inner circles now, it's people like 30, 35, neither one of those. And if you had kids, you probably, when you were younger, high school or just in college where, yeah. So bringing that back to the events, because you got events that's single, couple related. How do you feel like, or how do you think, there's no right or wrong answer to this question, but how do you think the state of the world per se, or just let's say America, how do you think that and the fact that we could communicate so much easier or in such a bigger volume, how do you think that plays into events? Because one of the things that I've seen with events is like, you go to events now, the social aspect is not as high as it used to be before. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you got to pry people into getting social, whereas before that was like the automatic thing. So how do you think that plays into people's mindset? Like, sometimes when you have too much options, you could chill a little bit. I don't really need to talk too much because I could just go in somebody's DM after this. Right. You know what I mean? Like, how you think that plays into events and the style of what people are doing, or how you can bring more value to people in that sense?
I think it plays into events from a creative standpoint because now it forces people to be even more creative with the type of events that they do on site, and for you to even connect with people that you would have never been able to connect with from an online standpoint. You now can be able to scale their interests. Like, for instance, let's say if you do 3 events within like a year, or 3 events in a
quarter,
right? Based off the 3 events that has all different themes, you can be able to scale. Okay, this event, this was what the audience liked. This was what this audience liked. This was what this audience liked. So when your next event come around, you have all different metrics from an online standpoint for you to be able to break down who your target audience was, what they like, what their interest was, what they was most gravitating towards on the day of that event. Rather, if you had like an activation site from a sponsor, or you had a live band, or the type of DJ that you had, based on the type of DJ that you booked, who came to the event based upon that DJ, who came to you to give some feedback about the music that was playing. So all of these different things would not have been possible to obtain from a 100% standpoint, because now you can get all of these things from 100% because was able to get the 50% offline audience, and now the internet factor came into play from a social media standpoint. You get that 50%, so you combine both. You get both feedback from a transparent standpoint. So I think the social media era right now, where people are subscribing to the most and how it aligns with events, it just created an overall transparency where it filters out people who are very creative and people who are not.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good point. One thing that I like, we never actually got to try this, but I had this idea of like, you remember how way back in the day they would have different floors, and each floor had a different vibe based on the DJ,
right,
and who liked that music, right, and that style of dancing and stuff like that. Like, what if you took that and actually niched it even further down? And what if it was niched down at an event where it's like, all right, we're going deeper than music and style of dance. We're going into intent and purpose. No. So, for example, you go into let's say one room or one section of the event, and just by the vibe off Bucks, you could tell it's just a chill, conversational vibe. And then you go into another room or section, and you could tell it's like a, Twerk Tuesday kind of vibe. Loud music, dancing everywhere, sweat, air is thick. And then you go into another section or room, and it's like a couples vibe. Smoother music, dimmer lights, you know what I'm saying? Incense, you know what I mean? Like, each one has a deeper aura of entertainment, like on 4, 5, or 6 levels versus just before, where it's just kind of been like DJ drinks, dance style, that kind of thing. And if somebody can actually execute that the right way, literally like in one event, it could be like all those things you just mentioned. Right. Like, hey, I'm going to the right corner of I'm going to this section of the room because I'm with my, my girl or my boyfriend or husband, wife, whatever. Or I'm going to this room because I just want to have conversation. I'm going to this room because I want to dance, or this room because I want to salsa. I mean, like, just different vibes based on like maybe 4 or 5 layers of things. If executed the right way, that could be like the ultimate kind of experience. And maybe not one event has all of them, right, but let's say the event had like 2 or 3. Okay. And then that brand of it was like, how you could, just an extra level of execution. Because the idea is, it's not like genius idea, something anybody can come up with, but the execution of it, when you tie the metrics and the brand and the awareness around it, like, that's something that if it's executed the right way can be like, all right, that's kind of like a thing that everybody or a niche amount of people would really like and stand out from other kind of events. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I know you got a big event coming up, and I'm gonna go ahead and give my 100% stamp twice on this event. Based on the last event that they did, based on what I know about Nels and what he's done before, based on just the presentation of what I've seen so far, and I'm gonna let him talk about it, talk about the buzz behind it, how you can get involved, and why you should be there. So go ahead and let them know what's.
So on December 14th, we're hosting the All Purple Gala. It's going to be the biggest gala of 2019. For those who are not familiar with or what a gala is more so of a evening or night of out on the town where individuals are brought together in one room where there's a purpose and a cause that will be established at that event. So the purpose of the gala, we're partnering up with a nonprofit called Kids Fashion Week DMV. And Kids Fashion Week DMV is a nonprofit 501(c) where they educate and empower children from the age of 5 to 17 years of age on fashion, the value of entrepreneurship, arts, and entertainment. And they hone their skill set to make them feel appreciated in what they're trying to learn as they grow in their skin. And with the type of events that we have sponsored in the past and the type of events that we advertise to our audience, we felt that organization, it made sense to give a percentage of the proceeds from the All Purple Gala. Now, what is an All Purple Gala? It's exactly how it sounds, all purple. That means you have to come in your best all purple attire, rather if it's from a cocktail standpoint or a black tie standpoint, all purple. Fellas, start looking for your all purple suit. Ladies, start looking for your all purple outfit, nice dress, come fly, dolled up. So this would be an event that will be able to, that we're connecting professional millennials, entrepreneurs, those who are philanthropists, individuals in the media outlet, where you all can not just come to have a great time, but to also come and see what DC9Events is bringing to the community that is served, both from a philanthropy standpoint and an entertainment standpoint and an overall agenda standpoint, where everybody can leave with an end goal, which is to build. And that's going to be on December 14th on a Saturday from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. We're going to have live entertainment ranging from a live opera singer, a live R&B singer, the lead guitarist from Beyonce, Ari O'Neal. She's going to be in the building. We're going to have a live recording artist. Can't say his name right now, but it's a special surprise.
Okay.
So it's going to be a real good time. If you want to learn more about the gala, visit www.allpurplegala2019.com. That's www.allpurplegala2019.com, and you can get your tickets online.
All right, so we're about to wrap up the show. So how and where can people reach you? how and where can people reach you and find out more about what you got going on and just staying in tune in general?
From a social media standpoint, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Dcnowevents. That's Dcnowevents. If you want to connect with us for any internship opportunities that we currently will be rolling out in the next month and a half, or partnership, collaboration, or sponsorship, you can send us an email at info@dcnowevents.com. That's info@dcnowevents.com.
All right, so we're going to wrap up the show. This is the first revampment of the show, the No Doubt About It Show. You can reach me all social media at No Doubt About It. That's NODAUDABOUTIT. As far as me, I'm doing different things all the time. I got a couple different shows I'm going to be doing, restaurants, business entrepreneur stuff, just chopping it up on live. You can always come to my stuff to get free game tips, build your personal brand, marketing, everything. Anything that I'm doing, once I get it done and it gets results, I'm putting it out there. So that's pretty much it. We'll catch you on the next one.